Hi there, this is Danielle Dunlop for Possum Stamps, and today I'm making a shaker card with new products from the February release. One of the new stamp sets is the Let's Roll stamp set. There are also matching dice available, and one of my favorite parts is actually the new shaker bits. I'm gonna open this package for you so you can see what is all in there. So first of all, the colors. I love the mix of the green, black, and white sprinkles. And then there's the sushi bits. Look at those. Aren't they cute? But let's start with the stamping. I wasn't sure when I started which pieces I was going to use on my card, so I decided to stamp them all, including the little tray and the chopsticks, and there's a little dot of wasabi, and there's a bottle of soy sauce. So I decided to stamp them all. I did not have the matching dies for this one, so I'm going to be fussy cutting all of these stamped images. And as you can see, the shapes are pretty simple. I am not the best fussy cutter ever, like more so the worst ever. But because of these simple shapes, it's very easy to do. Now that I have all my images stamped and fussy cut, it's time to start coloring. And I'm starting with the nori pieces, so that seaweed paper that the sushi is rolled into. That is black, and I like to use my tea grays for that. And my darkest is the T8, then I have T6 and T4. And because it's a round shape, I'm having my darkest colors on the outside of the roll and the lightest on the middle. I colored the other pieces off camera as I did them the exact same way. And now I'm moving on to the rice. It could be a tricky one because it's just white. But I like to use my C00 as a basic layer to just give the shape a little bit of color. And then I'm going in with C0 and C1. And I'm just adding a few little stripes randomly into the shape. So it kind of looks like the rice grains are in there. Next, I'm going to color the sushi roll with the fish eggs in there. And those are always bright orange. At least that's how I know them. And my favorite color combination for bright orange is Y38 for my lightest, and then YR04 and YR09 for my darker oranges. And I'm starting with putting down a little layer of the Y38, and then I'm starting to add some shadow with YR04 and YR09. Once I have my darkest shadow down, I'm going to build back with the middle color and then fill it up all the way with Y38, my lightest color. Now onto one of my favorite sushi pieces, the one with the omelette on top. So I'm using Y11, Y13, and Y15. And I build it up from lighter to darker. And then I'm going back in with the middle color and the lightest one at last to blend it all out. To color the salmon, I'm using 4 colors: R00, R01, R02, and R05. And I'm starting again with the lightest, and I'm moving on to the darker one. This one needs some back and forth between the colors to get a nice blend, but I think this one is the one that gets closest to a salmon color. And I will also be using the same color combination to do the sushi with the shrimp. And then we also have this sushi roll with a mix of ingredients, and I decided that is going to be salmon and some avocado. So I'm using the same colors here for the salmon. So now I'm going to start that little piece of avocado in there, and I'm using YG01, YG03, and YG05. And those are the same colors I'm going to use for the wasabi. I wanted the wasabi to look like it came out of a piping bag, so it needed a little swirl, a little texture in there. And I'm creating that with the darker color, the YG05. And I keep blending it out with the YG03 and YG01. And then all of a sudden, your little dot of wasabi has some texture. These shades of green are also a perfect match to the green sprinkles in the Sushi Time shaker bits. For the bottle of soy sauce, I'm using E44, E47, and E49. I've tried it with E25, E27, and E29 as well, and that one works very good as well. As long as it's just a very dark brown with maybe just a hint of red in there, then you got the right color. For the label and the cap of the bottle, I wanted a very dark red, so I went with R35, R37, and R39. And I also use these colors for those two little stripes on the chopstick. And then the last two items we have to color are the serving tray and the chopstick. And I want both of these to be brown, and I'm using the same colors for both of them. E53, E55, and E57. What I love about this serving tray is that you can use it in multiple ways. Last week I posted a reel on my Instagram, Danielle Dunlop 21, where I used the serving tray as some shelves on the wall. So you can check it out there how I use that. Now that all my images are colored, I'm working on the background of my card. And I wanted some of these sushi rolls and the chopstick randomly showing up there, but in a lighter color. So I chose a light brown stamping ink, and the sushi pieces I'm using are the ones that you look at from the top. So not the ones I colored before that you can see from the front. And stamping them in this lighter brown color gives you something subtle for the background. And the sushi pieces that we just colored, that's where the focus will be on the finished card. My sentiment is going on this layer of the card as well. This is the background layer, so it will be covered with the shaker bits and the acetate sheet. And because we stamped already in the background, I wanted to make sure that the sentiment was very well visible. I stamped it with the black VersaFine stamping ink, and then I'm using some clear embossing powder on top of it, just to make sure that it's really going to pop, and it also gives it a little bit of shine. Now we're going to put the shaker part together, and I die cut a stitched frame and added some very thin double-sided tape all over it. And this is going to keep the acetate sheet in place. Then I'm going to add some foam strips. And like I always like to do with shaker cards, I'm doing a double layer of the foam tape. Once all the foam strips are in place, I'm using my anti-static tool so none of the shaker bits will stick to the edges. Now the fun part, adding the shaker bits to my shaker card. And these make me so happy. I was actually realizing I'm with the Possum Stamps team for 2 months now, and I probably made more shaker cards in the last 2 months than I did in the last 2 years. And it's all because I'm so obsessed with all the fun sequin mixes and shaker bits that they put together. Now it is time to finish up my card with all the colored sushi pieces. So I have my serving tray, and I'm adding these four pieces of sushi to that tray, and I like to glue it all together before I put it on my card. And then also we're gonna have this dot of wasabi that's going on the tray, and this entire tray is going at the bottom of my card, so it will be glued on top of the die cut frame and the acetate. The bottle of soy sauce is going right next to it. And if I have to glue down something on a different material than paper, I like to use my Nuvo glue. I've used this glue to even put flare buttons down on scrapbook pages, and it sticks. It won't come off ever. So this also works very good with the acetate. Of course, you can also use double-sided tape if you prefer that. And then lastly, I'm going to glue down that chopstick, and that is going to go right in front of that serving tray and the bottle of soy sauce. Then all we need to do is put this card on a card base, and our shaker card is finished. I love how those green sprinkles match the color of the wasabi, and the pink sprinkles are almost the same color as the salmon and the shrimp in the card. I hope you enjoyed watching this card come together. The new February release from Possum Stamps is available now. I will drop the shopping link in the description box, and we cannot wait to see what you guys will create with the new release. Thank you so much for watching. Do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.